Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Isaac. So the very first item room here had the D4. In the majority of cases I would just say pick it up and start rerolling as soon as you get a few items or maybe a few battery charges. It's just one of those items in daily runs that when you find it and start using it and maybe know how to use it, it's gonna give you a guaranteed good score and there's really not much thought to it. And I decided maybe that this run I'm not gonna go about that life. I just wanted to stick with the D6, maybe I'll reroll a few of the bad items, and I think in general that's just gonna be much more satisfying. It's always nice when you see a bad item, you reroll it, you kind of delete it from the pool, and then you maybe get something better in return. It kind of feels like you're killing two birds with one stone. So it's just one of those things which I feel like it does depend. Obviously, you're gonna pick up the D4 if you want to get a really good score, or maybe if you want to just end up ranking well, and you're gonna stick with the D6 if you maybe want to have a little bit of a variance in this, maybe a bit more of a fun run. So I decided to stick with it for that exact reason, and I couldn't foresee what was gonna happen. I hoped I was gonna have a good run, obviously, as I always do, but this was something else. It was so good indeed that I didn't get hit once, so my damage penalty at the end was 0, but also there were instances where I found the Brimstone, I decided to reroll it, and then later on I also found Tech X, and I decided not to pick it up, because I felt like the loadout I had was just gonna be much better than whatever I would get if I did pick up those items in the first place. And that just obviously to some extent because I wanted to keep my, I would say, tier effects and just my tier synergies. So I felt like if I replace them, it's gonna ruin that. It's maybe not gonna be as special, as unique, because we get Brimstone very often and also, you know, Tech X to some extent. So it's just not like I want to go about those items. You know, there's more to this game than just having a good run. Sometimes you have a very good team run and you just want to stick with it. And I felt like if I did stick with this particular loadout, it's just gonna give me the best chance of actually having a 0 damage penalty score, which I think is the first for me. At least outside of just getting the Holy Mantle, because that's obviously going to make the life a lot easier just because you can still afford to get hit, but obviously it's not going to count any damage. But in this particular case, I didn't get hit at all, not even once. I don't think I even have invincibility in some cases. Besides, no, I definitely had invincibility. So okay, besides that, I didn't have the Holy Mantle, so obviously it was still not an easy task, but maybe with a little bit of luck, just maybe with how the Lost Vessel brought it, kind of gave me a little bit of a shield at the end. It did turn out to be a really, really strong run. So if you kind of look at it now, you can see it's starting to develop, and it's just one of those things which it starts and gets good early and just keeps getting better and just keeps giving you good items. You find Goat Head and you know you're gonna get a lot of good Devil Deals. We found the anti-gravity tiers, which in my opinion are just one of the best effects, especially if you can get some tier delay upgrades, because not only is it gonna increase your tier, so you'll be able to shoot faster, but anti-grav also increases the cap, which means that you can go beyond 5 and then you can go into 3s, 2s, and even 1s if you do get enough of those items, which would, I would say, benefit you. And later on, you know, not only our tier delay, we also got so much damage, and you can see that here, I would say, the winning ticket to actually not taking a lot of damage is Lost Contact, combined with the fact that our tiers will get so big because of our damage, and also because we'll be getting so much tier delay, we'll be actually able to shoot faster than enemies will be able to hit us. So it's just one of those things which really all came together, and I do imagine a lot of people won't really find this combo of items. First of all, because there's really a lot of items you need to find and reroll in a very specific circumstance in order to really get them. But even beyond that, right, people are maybe not going to pick up Lost Contact because maybe they think it's not going to be as good of an item, especially if you don't pick up anti-grav earlier on. There's really not much reason to pick it up because there's going to be a 7 tier delay, and that's not going to be much to really, I would say, warrant picking it up. Usually it's very good if you can shoot really fast, or if you can get Brimstone or maybe Tech X, or basically anything that has penetrative shots. But if you just have your regular tiers, being at 7 tier delay is just, I don't think, going to be enough, especially when you get into Harsh. You can end up really extending that fight because most of your tiers are just gonna be lost on his projectiles. But as soon as you have, of course, anti-grav with Incubus, so you're actually able to output twice the amount of regular tiers, you're in a very good spot where I don't think anything can really outshoot you, even maybe some of the harder bosses later on and, you know, those bullet hell enemies. I think I was actually producing more tiers than Hush was at a certain point, which just goes to show that, you know, really we're actually producing a lot of damage. And you can see that Lusty Blood also helped us out in this regard. We picked up Cricket's Head, and later on we also get Judas' Shadow, we respawn as Dark Judas, and I think we also get Magic Marsh. So it's really just all of the good items just on one. We get Succubus, which not only increases our damage, but also just is based off our damage, so it just deals maybe some more passive damage. And of course later on, like I mentioned before, we also get Lost Vessel, which is just amazingly good because it triggers sometimes it gives me a shield, and I think it did save me the one hit of damage I would have definitely taken against Harsh. And just like if you look at the clip and maybe slow it down, it just the exact frame, or maybe like like in exact second, I would say, maybe that's a bit more accurate. The lost shield actually procs, and then of course the tear isn't able to damage me. So it just, everything went really well, and I really have nothing to complain about. And at a certain point, it's not so much about having a good run as much as it is about showing off. So even if I did find a breaking one, I don't think I would have done it. I just wanted to go through the run as fast as possible, because obviously I realized I have a lot of offensive potential, and I realized also because I stuck with the d6, maybe some other people took the d4, maybe there were certain other items. I definitely didn't expect this run to be hard for anyone, just because you do get so many good quality items, even if you don't reroll. But I didn't expect anyone to be in this position where they would be practically invincible because of how many shielded tears they had. So looking back on it, it's definitely, if I had anything to change, like if I could do anything differently, I would have definitely just maybe stuck with it, maybe tried to buy a bit more shops. And I think the biggest part of here is just try to explore more. I think that was the biggest, I would say, issue in this run, even though I did get stronger later on in the run. If I realized, it was gonna be a strong run as it was early on, I think I could have maybe found a few of those secret rooms, the second secret rooms, which I wasn't able to find in this particular run, mostly because there just weren't enough bombs early on, and maybe just because I'm not adventurous enough, and I really kind of mind going back. I don't like backtracking, so oftentimes, I just leave a secret room behind, which is obviously a mistake, but you never know. Maybe one of the secret rooms can have like a 2 of clubs, and because we had Tarot Claw, that would synergize really well, we would be able to get a lot of bombs, and just as a result of maybe exploring a little bit more, maybe our swag bonus could be a bit better. So I think it could be better in both regards, both in the exploration bonus department and in that swag bonus department, because this is theoretically the perfect run, and the only thing maybe missing is finding the clicker to really get rid out of all of the items, and maybe the forget-me-not, so we'll be able to do less floor again. So there's always a question when you go to the lamp, or I would say to the chest in general. So do you go to the void and maybe stick through that floor, or do you just go to the lamp and maybe get the lamp bonus? And I think overall it's not gonna make too big of a difference, but if you do have a forget-me-not, I think it's always a better idea to actually go to the void. But obviously, in order to really get that particular item, to go to the void to the side, you would need to have the forget-me-not before you fight Hush, and at that certain point I didn't have it, so I decided to go via the lamp route. Another thing to really also keep in mind here is that when you go to the void, the floors are gonna be easier on average, which means that you're not gonna be fighting Satan, you're not gonna be fighting the lamp, or maybe some of those really nasty adversary rooms. So it might be just worth going to the void just for that reason, but also there are gonna be more chance of actually getting consumables. So when you get in the dark room, obviously every single chest that spawns, or most, I would say, won't give you any consumables, where in the void, of course, you're still gonna get them. And I think in this particular position, where we're still kind of on the lookout, and basically every single penny we have also has a chance to turn into a key, it might have been actually just a better idea to go to that particular floor in the first place. And I think I might have actually ended up with a higher score overall. And of course, if I did manage to find the forget-me-not, I would have also been able to use it to hold the floor again, which would just give me another chance to maybe do it again via maybe a sacrifice room, not a sacrifice room, but a secret room which spawns a trapdoor, and if you go into trapdoor, you can do it again. So that would just give you, so many points. So I feel like in this particular position, it would have been better to go to the void. So like I said before, if I had to change maybe anything about this run, I would definitely do that. And I think one thing I'm also kind of paying attention to on this particular one is just maybe to see how many points you get for exploring the dark room. So just seeing how many exploration bonus you get, as opposed to maybe going to the void, because in this one I don't get hit, like I said before, so I think it's a very good estimate of maybe just in average how much points you would get just for going through this one. Obviously I'm not including the 4,000 point lamp bonus that you get in the end, but looking back on it, you get about 2,000 or maybe like 2,500 points for exploring, and then you get 4,000 for going and beating the lamp. So if you do have the forget-me-not, you get about, like, I would say 4,000 to 5,000 points in the void, and you can do it twice, so that's like 10,000 points. So in this particular case, I get something like 7,000 points, and if I'm able to do it again, I also would be at like 9 to 10,000 points. So it just, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. But if you do have consumables, I think it would have been better to go to the void. So maybe it was a bit matty at the end, but doesn't really matter. What does matter is that our item penalty was relatively low. We had 0 damage penalty, which is something that never happens, like I said before. And if I had to improve anything, I think it would be exploration bonus and shrek bonus. But still, we did finish in a very good spot in like the top 10, I think, with 51,000 points. So if that is not something to be happy about, I don't know what is. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.